The APBA presents the 1990 inboard powerboat racing season in review. We'll take a look at all the chills and thrills that comprise one of the most exciting inboard racing seasons in many years. The 5-race circuit began in Phoenix, Arizona for the APBA Inboard Western Divisionals. Then on to Raleigh, North Carolina for the Eastern Divisionals. Next, the tour took us to Canada, across the border to the Valleyfield Regatta near Montreal. Then it was on to Tonawanda, New York, near Niagara Falls for the Niagara Challenge. The 1990 racing season had its finale in Meridian, Mississippi for the APBA Inboard National Championships. The Nationals proved to be a perfect finish to an exciting season of powerboat racing. We'll be back to take a look at all of these races and more right after these commercial messages. So stay tuned for Inboard Racing from the American Powerboat Association. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 1990 Inboard Western Divisionals, coming to you from Lake Firebird in Phoenix, Arizona. Today's APBA's sanctioned race event promises to be a real shootout as we have some of the fastest inboard boats on the national circuit here this weekend, vying for top honors in this divisional event.
Well, here we come down for the start of the finals of the 5-liter hydroplanes in the 1990 Inboard Western Divisionals in Phoenix, Arizona. We got the 91, the STD Express, the number 17, the Beam of Hope, the 105, the Miss Angie, the 190, the Wild Turkey, and the 484, the Mr. Domestic. As they go down into that first turn, the 91, the STD Express with Mark Weber at the wheel, out of East Detroit, Michigan, takes the lead, sets his boat up down off of turns 1 and 2, and starts to make the run down the back chute. Let's keep our eyes on him now as they go down that back chute. He is really starting to open up a lead right at this point. We'll see him set it up into turns 3 and 4. You can see that wall of water come up off that skid fin as he turns. Before he gets to the turn, actually, slides the boat around turns 3 and 4. He'll be looking for the checkered flag. This time out, you can see his head nodding. He knows he's coming home with a win. Formula Cobra finals out here this afternoon. The number 83, the Megabucks. The number 15, the Sunrise. The number 42, the Little Cobra. The number 34, the Jazz. And the number 61, the High Voltage. We get a good start. Running outside the Megabuck. Next to him is the number 15, the Sunrise. They're starting to bunch up now as they go down into this first turn. Let's keep our eyes on them. We're going to see 4 abreast into this first turn. And this is a tight turn. You see the wall of water come up off of the Megabuck. The number 83 with Dutch Squires out of Lakewood, Colorado at the wheel. Here they come down off that second turn and start to make the run down the back chute. He starts there as that wall of water, so he starts to set the boat up. He's into turn 3, and he is really drifting that boat off of 3 and 4, and here he comes down and across the start-finish line to pick up the checkered flag. That's the number 83 out of Lakewood, Colorado, Dutch Squires. Well, we're coming up now for the K-Boat Finals, the big boys, if you will, at the 1990 Inboard Western Divisionals as they get a start. This will be a 7-boat start on this field this afternoon, and we're going to see excessive speeds out here on this course. They can get around this turn, and those blown and injected motors, they have all the punch you need to reach maximum speed of over 130 miles an hour on these straightaways. One of the boats we're looking at right now is the number 69. The boat is called Freedom. That's Gordon Jennings at the wheel out of Anaheim, California. Down and across they go. He starts to set the boat up. Uh-oh, let's listen to it. Uh-oh, he is having problems. Look at the boat. It is really slowing down in that first and, oh my goodness, sounds like he may have either lost a shaft or lost a propeller. And you see him looking down. He sees the shaft turning, a signal of disgust. He puts his hands up. And there goes the number 9, the Kelron Racing Special. Ron Bolton has now gone into the lead on the final lap. As we say, anything can happen in racing, and usually does. And we just saw that happen to Gordon Jennings. Ron Bolton on the Kelron Racing Special, the number 9 entry, now is in the lead on this final lap. He'll be looking for turns 3 and 4. We see him set the boat up into turn 3 and 4. Brings it down off of 4, pops the plate up, and here he comes down across the start-finish line to pick up the win in the finals in Phoenix, Arizona, in the K Racing Runabout Final. Well, they're lining up now for the Superstock Finals. They make the run down and across that start-finish line. 6 boats on this start. Let's keep our eyes on them as they set them up down in his first turn. Running down to the inside is that number 70, the Hot Canary of Bill Faulkner's out of Provo, Utah. Just outside of him, the number 690, the Stars and Stripes of Gordon Jennings out of Anaheim, California. That's the man that had the prop shaft go down on him in the K Racing Runabouts. A tough break, so he is definitely back to avenge himself and his team with the Superstocks out here. The American Powerboat Association sponsored inboard Western Divisionals for 1990 in Phoenix, Arizona. He'll set the boat up into turns 3 and 4. This is when he starts to worry, and he's wondering if he hears strange sounds in that motor. He looks over his shoulder. He's looking for the number 70, the Hot Canary, Bill Faulkner. Off turns 3 and 4. He feels a little bit more comfortable now as he lifts the plates and gets the ride down the front chute. And here is your winner of the Super Stock Finals this afternoon, the 690, the Stars and Stripes of Gordon Jennings out of Anaheim, California. As we line up for the Pro Stock Finals, we see in the background there one of our major hydroplane sponsors, and that's the Formula Cobra banners. There they are, the 4-boat start in the Pro Stock Finals. Down and across the start-finish line they go. To the inside, it's the number 14 called Desert Sport Specialist, Jamie Jamison out of Phoenix, Arizona, at the wheel of that Revenge Hull. Running second right now will be the number 51, the Ultra Vixen, Marty Saccarelli from Phoenix, Arizona, in a Beesmeyer. Two of the Western-built boats, and they both handled very, very well. Into the lead goes the number 51, Marty Saccarelli, as they come down that back chute and around turns 3 and 4 at the end of 1. Back into the first turn, and it looks like the Ultra Vixen is going to go dead in the water. We hear his engine revving. His hand goes in the air. He's looking down. Obviously, Marty Saccarelli has lost a V-drive or a shaft, and a tough break for the Saccarelli team. You see him pound the steering wheel in utter defeat. He's very upset, but what a great break for Jamie Jamison on board that Revenge Hull out of Phoenix, Arizona, called the Desert Sport Special. Off of turn 3 and 4, down and around he'll come. Jamie Jamison out of Phoenix, Arizona, on board the Desert Sport Special, will pick up the checkered flag. They're lining up now for the final of the 6-liter hydroplanes here in Phoenix, Arizona this afternoon, and what a race this promises to be. It'll be a 4-boat start as they come down and across that start-finish line. The number 33, the Pay and Play. The number 136, the Huggy Bear. The number 1, the Miss Toledo. And the number 27, the Floating Alone. Now it's almost a 2-boat race down this back chute, and Bender starts to commit the Pay and Play early. He takes it to the outside. Look at the wall of water come up as they go off turns 3 and 4. There's that hot race going on for second place right now between those two. Off this 3rd and 4th turn, and there is a view. You can almost look in there and see the color of the driver's eyes. The cameramen are doing a beautiful job on this as he comes off and down and across the start-finish line to pick up the win in the 6-liter finals, the Cracker Box Final here in Phoenix, Arizona this Sunday afternoon, and it's a beautiful day for racing with these guys. These are the high-flying boats. They come across 4 abreast almost for a good start. Keep your eyes on them down into this first turn. The first boat into the turn is the number 87, that's the Going Broke. Gary Fuqua out of Whittier, California, with the rider John Mudd. Beside him, the number 27 pile driver, Bob Shearer out of Orange, California, and Bob Paul Jr., the rider. Look at them as they start down that back stretch, and what a race they're putting on. Flying that boat, just literally flying that boat. You can see the rider. He keeps looking back. He knows that 27 is knocking on their door at all times. Both of them start to look back. They're hanging on now as into the turn they go. One more time around. Here he comes down the back chute. The boat is loose, and they are really getting some horsepower out of that motor this afternoon. It sounds very, very good. And what a ride those guys are getting. They know they're there. They know that this race should be theirs. One more time. Down the back chute, you can see the island. They're starting to set the boat up into that 3rd and 4th turn. Pull the plates down. The boat sticks to the water, brings it around. They pop the plates, and we'll see it pop back up, and there he goes. He'll come down and across that start-finish line, and will pick up the win. You see their hands go in the air as they pick up the win. The number 40, the high roller, Danny Mang and Court Niels out of Orange, California. Welcome to the 1990 Eastern Divisional Inboard Races here in Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm Jeanette Hardcastle, and welcome to Lake Wheeler in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina. We're here for the Eastern Divisional Powerboat Races. We've got fantastic weather, lots of crowds, and we're really looking forward to seeing some great boat racing this weekend. For more information on the race, let's go back to the tower.
And here we come with the Jersey Skiff Final. Johnny, this looks like a real race developing out there.
Yes, it is, Joe. It's an excellent start. 4 abreast across across that start-finish line. Let's watch them down in the first turn. We're getting some beautiful camera work already here with these jerseys in this final here, right in the first turn. Running to the inside is that JS4 boat. That's the red, white, and blue. It's owned by Norman Brewington out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and he definitely wants to win here in the finals. You can see them as they lay him off that second turn, up on the side, and down that long back stretch they go. And you know, Joe, if you look here, look at these guys. They keep watching their competition. They by no means feel they've got this race won at this time at all.
Right you are, Johnny, and I notice the JS4 still has the lead, and I think I see the checkered flag.
You're right. He is into that third and fourth turn. The last time around, the checkered flag is out, and hopefully the red, white, and blue, the number JS4 of Norman Brewington out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, will come down. He's off that fourth turn, keeps it in close. There's his hand in the air, and he does pick up the win in Jersey Speed Skiffs. Here we are, Joe, with the start of the Super Stocks. 4 abreast, 5 abreast as they come down and across that start-finish line. What a start that was, Joe. Let's keep our eyes on them down in that first turn.
Yes, indeed, Johnny, and they seem to be really getting tight going through that first turn.
Yes, they do, Joe, and inside there's that super stock number 14. The boat is called April. That's G. McLean out of Baltimore, Maryland, the Michael Smith entry, and he is going to be the man to beat in this heat. He's already jumped out to about a 10-boat lead, running on the inside or the short way around this race course. He's opened up about a 4-boat length lead now over Michael Allen out of Kenner, Louisiana. Now the question is, as the time clicks down in that third and fourth turn, but here he comes. He is close and he's challenging. That's Michael Allen to the outside. The checkered flag is out, and there he is, your winner of this heat, the number 14 called April, G. McLean.
Johnny, here we have the final in the 2.5-liter modified race.
Right you are, Joe, and this is going to be a hot race. We've got a conventional boat there running on the outside and the cab overs to the inside. Let's watch them as they come down into this first turn. And oh my goodness, Joe, look what we're seeing here right in front of us. We have got a boat that has gone high in the air and blown over in this first turn. Well, Joe, here we are again with a 2.5-liter mods. This is the restart of the finals. Just a few minutes ago, of course, we saw the boat of Don Massengale go high in the air in the first turn. You know, that kind of unnerves these guys a little bit. But look at the nerves of steel they have now after they've made that start and down in the first turn, side by side, less than 10 feet apart as they set these boats up and go across that same area. These guys have come to race. This is the final. It's a run for the roses, all the marbles, if you will. John DeVos has pulled side by side and now has opened up about a boat length lead on the outside as they start down the backstretch.
Right you are, Johnny, and this is exciting APBA racing if I've ever seen it.
It is. Hydroplane racing at its best right here at the Tar Heel Regatta. Now, Joe, they are in that third turn. Baker on the short road in close with the Miss Aquanaut. John DeVos running to the outside in the boat called In Cahoots. The checkered flag is out. We've got a shootout off this fourth turn. Keep your eyes on them. DeVos about 2-boat length lead, and there's the checkered flag for John DeVos.
And we have a start in the OMC Cobra final, Johnny, and they're coming down to the starting line right now.
They're bunched up, Joe, but you know they're early. It looks like they're going to be early on that start. We'll have to wait and see what the official word is. But there they are, 2, 4, 6 abreast. They go down into that first turn. The Formula Cobra class. This is an OMC or Outboard Marine Corporation highly sponsored class of boats. It's a new one to the racing division, but it's a very exciting class. Right now, your leader at this point, unofficially, of course, is a hometown boy right here out of Raleigh, North Carolina. That's Tom Weaver. The boat is the S111 called Bingo. Now we'll have to get the final word from the referee whether Tom Weaver had a legal start or not. Well, Joe, here we come with the K-boats. This is literally thunder on water in the flat bottoms. Look at them pop them off the water as they accelerate down for this start. And I'm going to tell you what, we're going to see some high speeds there. Coming across that line first is that 777, the boat called War Eagle. Bob Bodie at the wheel. That's the Phil Stock entry out of Orange, California. But now he's going to have his hands full with a boat number 69 called Freedom. Gordon Jennings has been a man to beat on this race circuit for a long, long time, and let's just see what happens. This will be a good shootout here, Joe. Last time round, he pops the boat off, brings it off the fourth turn. The checkered flag is flying high for the winner of the K Racing Runabouts, Mr. Gordon Jennings. Well, Joe, here we are lining up for the start of the 6-liter finals, and this promises to be a real shootout. We got some of the top names in this. Down to that first turn, there they are, Joe. Look at this.
Yes, Johnny, they're really bunching up through that first turn and coming out of the second side of that turn.
Okay, he's down off that fourth turn. The checkered flag is out, and it is flying to the boat number 409, Hot Seat, the Kenneth Smith entry out of Pennsville, New Jersey, with George Kennedy from Bear, Delaware, picking up the win in the 6-liter final. Joe, they're bunching up now for the start, for the 7-liter finals. The big boys, if you will, in the limited hydroplane division. And they get a good start as they come down this front chute and start to set them up in the turn. Look at that shot. They are really bunched up, but we've got one person that's jumped out in front already. That's the boat out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the J9 called Miss Fort Lauderdale, the Ford-powered boat. And that's Tommy Baker at the wheel, a true veteran in this division. And he is going to be the man to beat. But look here on this backstretch as they start to set them in that third and fourth turn, Joe. I mean, there's just racing everywhere in that corner. So let's see if Tommy Baker can hold on.
First place boat looks like he's got a real battle to stay in first place.
Yes, he does, Joe. And I mean, we've got a battle here on the back chute now. Tom Baker is trying to stay in first place with a Ford-powered Miss Fort Lauderdale. And there it is. The wall of water starts up. The last time out, the checkered flag's out. We see the skid fin hooking up, takes him down into the third and fourth turn. He comes down off the fourth turn and is going to pick up the checkered flag for the final in the 7 liters.
Welcome, race fans, to the annual Valleyfield Regatta from Valleyfield, Canada, near Montreal, Quebec. The Valleyfield Regatta APBA powerboat race is one of the largest races in the world and promises to be one of the most exciting of the season. This regatta is brought to you by Molson Canadian. It's what beer is all about. And now, let's get to the thrills and chills of APBA powerboat racing.
So that tees us up now for the final, and you notice that clock up in the top right corner ticking down the start. And Robert, obviously not a standing start. How does the start work?
Yes, Paul, unlike automobile, we have what we call a flying start with the basic principle of hitting the clock when it hits zero. As we can see, that clock, just when it reaches zero, everybody is trying to be on that line right at the start. And then they are off for the race.
The Export A boat stalling out.
Yes, the Export A somehow has stopped, and I believe Willard is probably passed by now. He should be taking the lead. Yes, there's Willard on the backstretch heading up. Something went wrong with Russell's boat. We don't know yet, but there is something wrong. What a disappointment. He was leading. He had this race wrapped up, but somehow there is something that's gone wrong. Although we can see that Warren in the Why Not, driven by Bruno Darrois, is running right behind Willard, and Willard is trying to stay in there and will probably be taking the lead from this race. Mr. 145 somehow comes through once again.
And Willard Wilson and Lil Electron will cruise across and take the flag, the checkered flag. And this is the final and the real start. And again, you notice the clock up in the top right corner, ticking it down. It is a running start, not a standing start. They come up and try to get across the line just as the clock hits zero. That would be the ideal start, I guess.
Yes, the ideal time to be there is exactly when it hits zero. A battle in number 2 and number 3. Larry trying to hold that second place that he's got, and he's got the inside track, trying to hold on to it till the end. Just maybe half a lap by now to go.
And here comes Wheeler Baker rolling along, no problems, as he will cruise across and take the checkered flag. And Wheeler Baker is the 1992.5-liter modified champion here at Valleyfield. See the clock ticking down to zero, and we are off. 5-liter final time, and again, the boat to watch, Pure Canadian, driven by Chris Galbraith, who was explaining earlier down on the pitch when we caught up with him about the repair he had to make to the sponson. Is that? Oh, look at that! Somebody's lost a.
There's part of the cowling off one of the boats, I believe. Yes, the number 60, I think, just lost his cowling in the corner.
And they're in the midst of the final lap. Galbraith will win this. George Kennedy looks a shoe-in for second, and it looks like Greg Williams and Super Hot to Trot will come in third.
Yes, and that speed of 77, Paul, definitely shows us that Chris has everything in place and is running right. For the Valleyfield course in a 5-liter class at 77 average, he is running.
And he is running in first as he wheels around the final turn and heads into the stretch. Chris Galbraith in Pure Canadian, repaired sponson, borrowed prop, and all will roll on to victory. He's the 5-liter champion. And now let's pick up these KRR boats, firing it up for the final. 10 seconds till they hit the starting line.
Yes, coming down, Paul, on the clock. As you can see they're lining up their lanes. They've already picked their lanes, and now they're trying to get that clock right dead at 0.
And not a great start, but they are off. And these boats with speed to burn. Look at the size of those engines.
Yes, same engines, not even stronger than the Grand Prix engines. They're running down the chutes at 140 miles an hour. Look at them turn that first turn. And coming out of the turn, I believe we've got
Gordon Jennings is in front in Freedom.
Yes, that's right. Gordon Jennings already established the lead right there in front. They are very strong, 1,500, 2,000 horsepower in there. And they will go. They will respond. All you got to do is ask them.
And Gordon Jennings rocketing down the straightaway. He will take the checkered flag, and he is again the KRR champion here at Valleyfield. Average speed 89.910 miles per hour.
Yes, a restart ball, and as we can see right in the corner, the pay and play moved in on, I believe it must be Guy Dorion's boat, but now they're in line and they are off for the final race.
And George Kennedy Jr. in hot seat, who we saw a few moments ago in the qualifying heat, out in front. He got a great start, and he is off and running.
Yes, we're now in the final. As we can see, George Kennedy did not pick the outside lane. This time he has gone to an inside lane. There are no chances to be taken. And coming out of the first corner, he's already in front. We've got the pay and play right on his hip. And just on the outside, we've got...
I believe it's Grayson Jones.
I believe, yes. Just went right by pay and play and is on the trail of George Kennedy, trying to catch him in this final heat of 6 liter.
There's a second place boat, Grayson Jones in Heartbreaker, and he is averaging just over 87 miles per hour. George Kennedy in first.
Yes, Grayson Jones trying very hard, but George is just simply too strong today. Been very consistent, and he's just out there keeping that inside track, making sure of himself that nobody creeps in on him. And there he goes. He's got his arm up in the air. Yes, he's just won the 6 liter final.
Okay. And we're all set, tuning it up to watch the 7 liter final. And they come up, and off we go. And they've had a little bit of trouble with the clock here the last little while. There was a red flag in the initial start, and this was the second start of the race, but we are underway now.
Yes, Paul, as could be predicted. We can see Mike Milano in the leader of the pack, and Frank Richardson in the Deal Me In. That is where the battle will be. With the good elimination that he had, the initial one, he still made it to the final. But now engine problems and his boat has stopped.
He was disqualified for apparently not leaving enough room during passing. Can you, what's the ruling?
Well, you see, in the hydroplane racing, we have a rule that there must be at least 4 boat lengths. You must have a lead of at least 4 boat lengths before closing down someone else's lane.
And Mike Mamano takes the checkered flag. He finishes in first place. These are JSS boats, Jersey Speed Skiffs, and they look like souped-up fishing boats from where I sit.
Well, in a way, they are. I think they are that kind of a boat. It's kind of the type of boat that everyone could own. And except, like you mentioned, they are souped up. They're running 283 cubic inch V8 motors in there. What a ride this Bromwell is having. The boat bouncing around out there. I think one is in there. Just make sure the other one stays there.
Have you driven in one of these boats?
No, I don't think I want to go out in those.
This is a man telling me he wouldn't want to go in one of these who normally drives over 100 miles an hour in a GP boat. I'll take my chances in the speed skiff.
Yeah.
And no problems for Bromwell and passenger in together again. Checkered flag and the JSS Championship.
Yes, Paul, and what a race this final will be. 6 of the top running Grand Prix boats in this final. I believe we have Mike Endres taking the lead. Yes, Mike Endres taking the lead right at the start, in the first turn, and he is already coming out of that first turn ahead. Schaffsmith, I believe, right on the inside of him. What a race this is going to be. Going down, although Mike seems to have a little more power than Schaffsmith, just slightly gaining on him. Both are heading towards the finish. Mike seems to have taken the lead here. What will Jimmy do in this last turn?
King's in the outside.
Can he or can't he? Look at the finish.
for Jimmy King, 102.215 miles per hour.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 1990 Niagara Challenge from Tonawanda, New York, on the banks of the Niagara River near Niagara Falls. This American Powerboating Association race event promises to be one of the most exciting we've seen all year.
We're coming down for the Formula Cobra start here, the finals here in Tonawanda, New York. It's a 7-boat start, and look at them as they come across that start. One boat has jumped way out front right on the start. That's the number 5 entry out of Valleyfield, Quebec, Canada, the Russell Howarth entry, and he is really getting a ride. This is the same boat that Jeanette interviewed a minute ago, and there you can see the boat as they set him up into that first turn with that enclosed cockpit. And Joe, you know, we've talked many, many times about the safety features in American Powerboat Racing and just how the advancement's coming along. He's here down in the 3rd and 4th turn. He's coming around. Here's Russell Howarth in that number 5 entry out of Valleyfield, Quebec. He's off the 4th turn. He starts to drift it out as he comes down and across the start-finish line. He'll be looking for the checker, and unofficially, this will be your winner. The number 5 entry, Russell Howarth, was disqualified. That was a tough break for him, and that did give the Why Not, the number 57 entry of Bruno DeRoy, the win.
Johnny, here we go with the Pro Stock Can-Am Finals here on the Niagara River in Tonawanda, New York.
You're right about that, Joe, and this is a hot one. It promises to be a super shootout. 10 boats abreast on this start, and what a start they got. Now, Joe, these boats are flat-bottom, 17, 18-foot boats, very, very fast, 120, 125-mile-an-hour boats, big blocks, high cubic inches, high horsepower, fuel injected, and with the holes in this water, as you just saw it at number 311, he literally laid it up on the chine of that boat. He hit that first turn a little bit too hot for the water conditions, but he got it under control. Look at him, bounce him off the second turn and down the back chute. Now you'll notice that they'll fly these boats down the straightaways, but then they'll get the porpoise out of them and get a little bit more level in the turns, because that's when they put that left override pedal down, which pushes those cavitation plates down and hooks the boat up in the turns. Let's look down here in the 4th turn. You see he's got the plates tucked down. He's getting a nice comfortable ride through the 3rd and 4th turn now. And he'll pop the place. There he is. He's popped the place. Here he comes down and across the number 75 Temptation. Mel Trebrucka picking up the win here in the finals of the Can-Am Pro Stocks. Coming up for the final of the 5 leaders now. 9 boats out there as they start to run down and make the run for the clock, the famous run for the clock, if you will. And this is where boat races are won and lost. Look at them bunch up as they come down and across. It's a wide open start. Let's keep our eyes on them now.
I'll tell you what, Johnny, that is a wide open start, but it's not a wide open 1st and 2nd corner. My goodness, they're jammed in there.
Boy, they sure are, and this water has really produced some rollers, and you see them just literally sponsoring walking those boats as they come down. They set those skid fins in the turn, the walls of water come up, and I mean, they're bunched up. Let's see what happens as they come off that second turn and start to make the run down the back chute. Into the 3rd turn, one more turn to go for the number 25 entry called Vision. Mr. Ronald Broke at the wheel, and just a beautiful job from a come-behind situation for him. So he's really producing horsepower. The checkered flag's out, Joe, for the number 25 Vision. Mr. Ronald Broke picks up the win. Well, Joe, here we are with a 7-liter final. The rain is starting to come down. It's just making the race conditions a little bit tough for these guys. But I tell you what, this is a run for the roses, and you can see them bunch up. Look at them as they come down for the start. The 7-liter final at the 1990 Niagara Challenge. Side by side across that start line they go, and watch these big hydroplanes. Look at him fly the boat, both of them, into their first turn. Wow, talk about getting them dialed in. There was the number 8. That was a Deal Me In, the Jimmy Deal boat driven by Frank Richardson running on the outside. And I'm going to tell you what, we got one that looks like he spun it there. He's got it back under control, and here they come down the back chute.
Well, I'll tell you what, Johnny, they're really spicing and dicing out there.
They sure are, Joe. Here they are in that 3rd and 4th turn. Deal Me In, Richardson to the inside, running to the outside to number 7, Do Hot, Ted Dudley. Richardson starts to carry him wide off this 4th turn. Look at him, he is really making him take the long road. But on the outside, Dudley is on the move now. Here comes Dudley side by side. It is going to be a photo finish as they come down and across, Joe. It looks like it's Dudley by about a half boat. Joe, let's go back and look at this in slow motion. Here's our instant replay look at it. Running on the inside to J8, and outside of him is that J7. Now let's watch him off the 4th turn. You'll see the J8, Richardson takes him way outside, trying to make him run a longer race course down here to the finish. But the J7 is really under power. He's starting to catch up with him now. They're coming down to this finish line. and it's just kind of a no-hold-barred situation. Let's watch it right here as they come across the start-finish line for almost a photo finish. As they are right here approaching it now, you can see the J7 inch ahead of him, and there it is as you see the buoy at the top of your screen. It is Too Hot Ted Dudley as your winner of the 7-liter final. The 6-liter final on the Niagara River. The clock is ticking down, and the referees will be watching this start real close. 6 boats as they come down and across that start-finish line with a good start. They set them up into the first turn, and this water is really tough for these guys, Joe.
Oh, you're right, you are, Johnny. And I tell you, the racing we're seeing out here on these tight corners and this rough water on the Niagara River really is something to watch.
That it is. And, you know, these guys had to do a lot of homework this afternoon. Well, actually all weekend. The weather's overcast. The water conditions have changed on them a couple of times. And that means they've had to do some rejetting of the carburetors, maybe changing timing a little bit, possibly even changing the props to make these boats perform. I know some of these drivers in these hydroplanes, and look at them, they're side by side. But, Joe, you know, some of these guys have had to shift their motor weight even in the boat. That means a lot of work, but it's paying off. Look at this. Beautiful 6-liter hydroplane racing off the first turn, or fourth turn rather, at the end of the first lap.
Well, she certainly is on the final lap, and again, I can't believe the ride these guys are getting when they bounce those boats like that.
Oh man, it's a wonder, Joe. We haven't seen them put holes in the bottom of these boats. These boats are very thin, and at that speed, it's like hitting a concrete block out there. But Randy Haas, right now in the F1, the boat called Miss Toledo comes off the fourth turn. The checkered flag is out, and he has certainly earned his win here this afternoon. There he is, Randy Haas, your winner of the 6-liter final.
Well, Johnny, here we are at the final race of the day, and we have for us an exciting Grand Prix final.
Yes, we do, Joe, and if this is anything like the previous heats that we've seen, I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be a barn burner out here on the water. The crowd is up, they're really excited, and once again, there's that beam of hope. Mike Andrews, he hits that clock just so perfect every time, Joe. I mean, that guy must spend hours on these clocks because he knows this race course. He's come to race, his equipment's right, and look at him off that second turn and down the back chute. You know, that's a good name for that boat, the Beam of Hope, because it is a good hope for Mike Andres in the final, and also for Roswell Park and the Cancer Foundation and all the work they do to support and help cure cancer in the country. But there he is, coming off turn 3 and turn 4 with the Beam of Hope. The GP17, Mr. Mike Andres, picking up the win in the final of the Grand Prix division.
Welcome, race fans, to the 1990 APBA Nationals from Meridian, Mississippi. This event is the crown jewel in the American Powerboat Association's 1990 inboard racing season and promises to be one of the most exciting and thrill-packed events of the racing year.
Well, Joe, the 1990 Jersey Speed Skiff National Championship is about to become a reality. The clock is ticking down. The boats are bunching up there, getting ready for the start. Joe, look here. We've got 2 that's gone together. One has gone on top of the other. I believe that's the Gambler riding up on the Rhythm and Brews boat. One's dead in the water, but they're coming down for the start now. So let's keep our eye on them and see what happens as they get a start. That's Birdsall up the middle, the previous national champion. He gets a good start, and there they go, down towards that first turn. Now, Joe, this is a little different type boat than people have seen before, and we'll get a chance to talk about them. And let's hope we can get a shot inside these boats. There's 2 drivers, a riding mechanic, and a driver, and they had their start way back during the days of Prohibition when they used to carry bootleg liquor from offshore to the shoreline. Well, here they are, the boat called Flat Flyer out of West Palm Beach, laying it up in that third turn, Joe. He'll come off the fourth turn. The checkered flag is out. Look at him, flies it high off the fourth turn. Here he comes down now. You can see the rider hanging on that right side. They come down and across, and they will pick up the checkered flag to win the 1990 Jersey Speed Skiff Nationals. Well, Joe, they're lining up now 9 abreast for a good start here at the 1990 Inboard Nationals in Meridian, Mississippi. The 2.5 modifieds are coming to the line, and this promises to be a real shootout. That's Jim Sellers out of Pinellas Park, Florida, carrying them across the start. But look at them start to bunch up as they go down to that first turn.
Well, they certainly are in there tight, Johnny. It looks like a real race developing, not only first, but second and third place as well.
Right you are, Joe, and they're really starting to put power to it as they come off that second turn and start to run down the back chute. Now, we've got 2 side by side. We'll have to pick up the number, but we do know that outside boat looks like it's Jim Sellers out of Pinellas Park. He's running the long road. And back to our leader now as he starts to set that boat in the first turn. He is really continuing that strong pace. He's keeping the boat on a comfortable line around the course, and here he comes off that second turn. down the back chute, and he'll start looking for that turn 3. The checkered flag's out. Felster lays it into the third turn, takes it off the pins a little bit, drifts it into turn 4, comes down off the 4th turn, and picks up the win. Doug Felster, Joe Longo second, and Jim Sellers third.
And here come the Formula Cobras, the OMC class here in Meridian, Mississippi. They're bunched up before they even get to the start-finish line. John, this looks like it may develop into a real shootout of a race.
It sure does, Joe. They're going to line up side by side, 9 of them for the 1990 National Championship, APBA style. 2, 4, 5 boats across on the start. Good start, and there they go. Joe, they're heading down to that first turn, and there are a lot of races won as they come in and out of that first turn. And right there are two challenging each other. Inside in the blue and white boat is Steve David out of Pompano Beach, Florida. Running outside of him is Dan Brossoy out of St. Timothy, Quebec, Canada. Brossoy comes off of 1 and off of 2 and starts to open up a little bit of lead now as they start to make the run down the back chute. Joe, he's starting to set the boat up now in the third turn, so what do you think?
Well, I don't really see how anybody's going to challenge him and take that lead away from him. But, of course, as you always say, anything can happen in boat racing. I'm just kind of figuring that he's pretty well got it locked up.
I think he does. There's the wall of water coming up off that skid fin as he sets the boat in turn 3. He'll be looking for the checkered flag to come out up on the judge's stand as he enters turn 4. A nice ride. He starts to drift the boat off the turn a little bit, gets out of those rooster tails. And, ladies and gentlemen, here he comes down out of St. Timothy, Quebec, Canada. Daniel Brossoy picking up the win in Formula Cobra 1990 Inboard Nationals. Well, the 1-minute gun is fired for the Super Stock Finals here in Meridian, Mississippi. The APBA Nationals is what it's all about at the end of the year. Coming down for the start now, running to the outside. Mike Allen out of Kenner, Louisiana. On the inside is Gordon Jennings out of Anaheim, California. Let's watch them, Joe, as they go down to this first turn. It's going to be side by side.
Well, right you are, Johnny. They seem to be developing a real good race, but I notice Gordon seems to be pulling out in front a little bit.
Yes, he is, Joe, and I'm surprised the way he's got the boat set up. It's very, very loose right now, and he has literally exploded off that second turn and down this back chute. He is just flying the boat out there, and of course the water conditions are good for it now, but they got 4 laps to run here, 3 more after this one, and you can see that water is breaking off way back behind the motor. It is very, very loose as he starts to set the boat up into turn 3 and 4, and there's the white flag out for him. He looked up and saw it, so he knows that he's on his last time around now. Gordon Jennings out of Anaheim, California, the SS 690. The boat is called Stars and Stripes, and it's one of the prettiest boats on the circuit today. But pretty is as pretty does, and he is definitely doing it out here right now. Running second, though, at this point is Duff Daly out of Miami, Florida, on board a boat called Slowpoke. And running third right now is Mike Allen out of Kenner, Louisiana, and the boat is called Renegade. But let's keep our eyes on Gordon Jennings as he comes down the back chute. He'll be setting the boat up in turns 3 and 4 and looking for the checker. Joe, you notice he doesn't back off a bit. Not a bit as he comes down. And there he is, into the third turn. He'll be setting it in the 4th turn, and here he comes, ladies and gentlemen. The checkered flag is flying for Gordon Jennings on board a boat called Stars and Stripes as he picks up the national win. All right, Joe, seconds away from the start. They're lining up real well for the 5-liter final here in Meridian, Mississippi. And we have got a good start, side by side. Let's keep our eyes on them as they go down that first turn, 4 and 5 abreast, Joe. 4 and 5 abreast is right, Johnny. That looks like it's real close quarters going through that first corner. That is for sure. And, you know, if you're not in first or second place when you're driving a hydroplane, that wall of water coming up off the skid fin and off the rooster tail is going to wet you down. So it gets real tricky. But off that second turn and down the back chute, Joe, it looks like we've got a race already down that back chute. I believe that's John Hugenair out of Norristown, Pennsylvania, running on the inside in that white entry. And he's trying to take a lead. But look, coming up beside him now on the outside, out of the Bellevue, Ontario area is Chris Galbraith. And he flies his boat as he takes over the lead from him now down in that 3rd and 4th turn. Chris running to the outside, a long way around this race course, but he is hanging on. He is definitely making Hugenair work for that inside position. Hugenair is driving a very, very defensive race right now in that lead position by keeping the boat in close. At the same time, Chris Galbraith is trying to run outside, keep his RPMs up, and maybe make Hugenair make a mistake. Maybe hook the boat a little bit or whatever so he can get around him. So let's keep our eyes on him. They're on that back chute. Last time around, the checkered flag is definitely out for one of these 5-liters, and that is a beautiful shot of him. Gives you a good idea of what these drivers are going through now. Down off the 4th turn, here he comes. This is going to be your winner, John Hugenair out of Norristown, Pennsylvania. The second place boat will be David Pellerin out of Harahan, Louisiana, and Chris Galbraith out of Bellevue, Ontario, Canada.
And here come the 6 leaders here in Meridian, Mississippi for the national championships of the APBA. Johnny, why don't you take up the race call for us?
All right, Joe, we got a 3-boat heat here, but it's going to be a very fast heat. This being the second smaller class, if you will, in the limited hydroplanes, called 6 leaders. And they are just as capable as the big 7 leaders. We've got a good start. That's Grayson Jones running to the outside as they set him down into the first turn. Off that first turn, still side by side, down through that second turn. Now, Jones running to the outside, the long way around this race course, starts to open up a lead a little bit over Dave Bender out of Mission Viejo, California. Joe, that is the only boat right now in the 6-liter division that's running a completely enclosed canopy or an enclosed cockpit with a safety cell in it. We will see that to come here in the very near future. Boy, that is some beautiful camera work, isn't it, Joe?
I tell you, every time I see those boats coming right at us, Johnny, I'm glad I'm in the tower and not in those cockpits.
The first place water is the best water. It's nothing like being in first place in the turns or anywhere else, as Grayson Jones is showing. But still, without the rollers, and especially with a 3-boat race here, it gives these other 2 boats a little bit easier job. They can concentrate more on setting the boats up and running them and being where they want to be on the race course as opposed to trying to drive the water. Grayson Jones is off that second turn. He's down the back chute right now, and we'll have to watch him. The checkered flag will be out this time around for him. He comes off of turn 3, down off of 4, and here he comes, your winner in the 6 leaders, Grayson Jones. The second place boat, Dave Bender, and the third place boat, Randy Haas. The K Racing runabouts, say high horsepower flat bottoms here in Meridian, Mississippi, and they've got a good start here for the national championship.
Yeah, they certainly do, John, and that looks like an awful lot of wild horses going through that first corner out there.
I mean, to tell you, I'd hate to think how many thousands of horsepower there is out there on the water right now, but we've got a boat that we're going to have to definitely watch, and that will be Gordon Jennings out of Anaheim, California.
Now, where is Gordon Jennings right now? Is he in the second
He's running
position?
I believe Gordon's running second right now, and that's the boat that's on the move on the outside. Of course, he's got his hands full of that first place boat, so let's watch him down this back chute. Here he comes. He'll start setting that boat up into turn 3 and 4. The checkered flag is out there on the stands, and it is waiting for Gordon Jennings, barring nothing unforeseen. He'll come away with a national championship. Off turn 3, his plume is flying. He's setting the boat into turn 4. Here he comes down and across the start-finish line. Mr. Gordon Jennings picks up the win in K Racing runabouts. Joe, look here. The second place boat has slung something on the motor. He's going dead in the water right at the finish line. The frustration's there. And George Stratton beating it. Joe, he has finished. And the third place boat is the yellow boat of Ron Bolton out of Long Beach, California. What a finish we had here in K Racing runabouts in Meridian, Mississippi. Meridian, Mississippi, American Powerboat Association, National 7 leaders at their best. Inside, Stephen David, Tommy Baker up the middle, and Charlie Wiggins outside of him take the start. Down to the first turn they go. 4 times around this 1.25-mile course, looking for the win. It's what it's all about in 7-liter hydroplane racing this year, Joe.
And that certainly is the right word. It looks like hydroplane racing at its best, Johnny.
Yes, sir. This is the largest of the limited hydroplane division. A lot of drivers come out of these boats and go into the unlimited hydroplanes. But right now, down that back chute, Stephen David is showing you what it's all about in 7-liter hydroplane racing. Out of Pompano Beach, Florida, he drives the 146. The boat is called a Steeler. Right beside him, though, and never count him out, is Tommy Baker out of Queenstown, Maryland. The white flag is out, and Tommy Baker continues to charge hard on the outside of this race course. He is definitely trying to make up running room. Steve David driving a very smart race, keeps the Steeler in close to the pins, has it working very well for him down there. Off that second turn, they will start to run down the backstretch. Baker trying to find running room to the outside of David. David pushing the Steeler for all he can. The boat's probably running 140, 145 miles an hour at this point. What a beautiful shot this is. Baker running to the outside. We see Charlie Wiggins out of Gadsden, Alabama in the rooster tail back there as they start to set those boats into that third turn. Now we'll watch them. Here they come drifting off that third turn and into the fourth turn. Down off this fourth turn and down and across the start-finish line. It's going to be Steve David picking up the win in the 7 leaders, followed by Tom Baker out of Queenstown, Maryland, and Charlie Wiggins from Gadsden, Alabama.
Well, there you have it, race fans. It's been quite a season for APBA inboard powerboat racing across America. We hope you'll join us for the upcoming 1991 racing season. Until then, I'm Joe Gates reminding you that APBA means racing.